Hi, I'm Melody.
And I'm Candi.
And you're listening to
Quirks, Bumps,
and Bruises. Well, good morning. It's Melody.
Hey, it's Candi.
And it's the Morning JoyRide. Glad you're hanging out with us so early. Grab that extra cup of coffee and jump in the JoyRide car with us because we got a passenger by the name of
Joseph Habedank. I'm just kidding.
No.
Joseph Habedank.
Good morning, Joseph.
Thank you guys for having me. It's so early. I'm so tired, but I'm so grateful that you said my name so correctly. So congratulations on that.
Which do you like better, Habedank or Habedankadoo?
I think I like yours better because I feel like yours is more of a term of endearment.
It is.
I think Habedank is just a mess up. It's not just incorrect.
You're right about that.
I mean, I've been called worse, I assure you. It's a hard one, so I understand anybody having trouble with it.
Just a little bit of background on that. I have known Joseph for a lot of years. And back in the early days when he was with the Perrys, it just became a thing with us where I would call him Habedankadoo. And so now we just have a little pick back and forth about it each and every time. So I love my Joseph Habedankadoo. Well, we're particularly excited because we have something so much fun coming up. And I know it's not like no one's heard about it because we've been talking about it nonstop. But Joseph Habedank in concert along with Joy FM on Saturday, February 11th at 6 o'clock, Open Door Baptist Church, Hickory, North Carolina. You can go to our website.
That's right, joyfm.org.
For all the details and to purchase tickets there as well. Already getting a lot of traction, and we know people like to wait sometimes, but you better not wait because this is going to be an absolutely phenomenal night. I mean, who don't like to hear Habedank sing?
Probably Habedank. So I do have to say this about this concert. This concert has a lot of things that I love. So it has, which is ironic because it's Valentine's weekend, but it has Joy FM, which I love and I have loved for my entire career. I just love your radio station. I love your staff. I love the church that we're doing it at. I've been there, I think, 2 or 3 times. It's one of my favorite churches, one of my favorite venues. If you've never been to the Open Door Baptist in Hickory, it is just a great venue. And then I also love the fact that it is going to be on Valentine's weekend, and of course Lindsay will be with me because she travels all over the country with me, and she will. I'm just going to say this. I'm not going to get into too many details, but she will be on the stage that night at some point. So you guys have to come. She doesn't do it very often. In fact, really at all. She doesn't really get up on stage much at all. So you guys have to come. We're going to celebrate Valentine's together. It's just going to be an amazing night. And thank you guys for having me. I'm just so honored. I think this is my first ever concert with Joy FM, technically. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, just with you, too, alone, nobody else.
We had lunch with some friends of Joy FM today, and I heard Candi say he could sing the phone book, and I would listen. I would sit in concert with him singing the phone book. So, and I agree. I mean, it's just your voice. For goodness sakes.
I'll just be honest here. David Phelps has forever been like my favorite singer. I gush over him all the time. He's just great. But you have to, I like you better than David Phelps. Don't tell David that.
Wow.
I do too.
You do too.
Well, you know what's funny? I appreciate that because in my opinion, David Phelps is probably the greatest singer that gospel music has ever known. I think he's the GOAT, as they say, greatest of all time. I really do. I think him and Kenny Henson are the greatest singers ever in our genre. And I think, there's others, Jason Krabs up there and Michael English. I mean, there's some really good ones, but David Phelps is just like the GOAT to me. So that means a lot.
But what I love about you, too, is that you're so flexible. Like, you have the ability to pick great songs.
I appreciate it. I don't think a lot of people realize it, but every song that I record are songs that I've written. But what they don't realize is I don't just write 10 songs. I write sometimes 100 songs for one album, and it takes me that long to get the 10. And then it has to go through, the first person has to go through is Lindsay, because as soon as I'm done writing them, I'll come home, we'll eat dinner, and I'll play what I wrote, and she'll say, yeah, I think we need to cut that. Or, no, I don't think it's strong enough. And that can be hard because, I could come home and love something and she's just like, I don't think it works. I don't think it fits. And then after that, we have to run it by the producer and the record company. And there's so many filters. So by the time it gets on the record, it's already gone through, a handful of people from all different walks of life. And so I think that is what makes the song selection so good, is because there are so many people that speak into it.
Well, we were talking today, Candi and I, about like you're such a great singer, but I said to Candi, I said his songwriting, to me, the talent is about the same on both ends. Like, you are a fantastic songwriter as well. Are there some songs that you have written and other groups or artists have recorded those songs?
Yeah, there's actually several on the radio right now. The new Old Path song, Music to Your Ears, is a song I wrote with Rodney Griffin. I don't know if y'all are playing it, but then Brian Free's new song, Liar Liar, Lauren Talley's new single, Shut Him Up. The song I wrote, I've had, I think, 5 or 6 different artists have had #1 songs with me. I think Karen Peck, Tribute, of course, the Perrys, Wisman, Kingsman, me, and so there's about 6 different artists that have had #1 songs, and I think there's about 200 songs that have been recorded in the last 20 years that I've written. Pretty exciting, and I really enjoy it.
You've written that many songs?
I've actually written 400, and 200 of them have been recorded.
Oh, 200 of them have been recorded. Goodness, I did not know that. Well, I expect a song to be written about me when I see you on
Oh, I'm going to. I'm going to call it Habedank-a-doo.
Yes. Joseph, what is the #1 song that people want you to sing? When you go to a concert, what do you hear the most?
Here He Comes, probably, which is funny because I love Here He Comes, but I don't do it until the end of the night, every night. And so people are always so nervous because they'll come to the concert and they're like, he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it.
Oh.
And I'm like, they should know. It's always the last song. And, that one's for sure the one that people gravitate towards. And then, there's other ones that are very up there, like Big Enough. It's a big one, which ironically, I don't do Big Enough every night. I do it, almost every other night probably. But Beauty of the Blood is another big one. Religion Isn't Working is a big one that people want to hear. And there's a lot of different songs. And I think what I love the most is starting to have this kind of like this catalog of songs, that I can turn to. And because when you're at the beginning, you don't really have I basically had to do, old songs or Perry songs or stuff I knew. I couldn't do my songs because I didn't have them out yet. And so now I'm to the point where I'm 4 or 5 records in, and I've actually got this of songs that I can pull from. And now the challenge is getting every song in that people want to hear, because there's only so much time, in a night. And so I have to make sure I get them all in. And so, but it's fun. And one of the things I love most about being solo is getting to call my own set. It's kind of an art form in and of itself. So I'm constantly learning what works, what doesn't work, and so that's fun.
Well, if you don't sing Beauty of the Blood that night, you're fired.
We are leaving.
Well, I used to do it every night, and then I stopped for a while because it was getting really hard for me to sing. After COVID, I had like this, I was running out of breath, I guess because of my lungs, and so I just started singing it again in the last few weeks, and it's been going a lot better. So
good.
I will definitely do that. Just remind me, though, so I don't forget.
Oh, we will.
I'll definitely sing it.
The first time I ever heard that song, I think I ended up on a puddle on the floor. Like, that song can just rip your heart out and just provide so much hope for you and for me and for whoever's listening. The redemption of that song. It is just, did you write that?
I did, yeah. I was actually doing what I'm doing now. I was driving to a date, and I was writing my first record, and I started thinking about the blood and how could I write a song about the blood and make it unique? And I thought, blood is kind of known as something that's kind of gory and something that's kind of gross. And then you think about the blood of Jesus, and it becomes beautiful. It's the only blood that we think of in a positive spin, right? And so I thought only God could take something like blood and make it beautiful. The blood of Jesus is a beautiful thing. I took it to Michael Farron and Tony Wood, and we wrote Beauty of the Blood, and it's one of my favorites. It's obviously very near and dear to my heart because of my story, and so, it was a big breakthrough for me as far as getting my testimony on a record, kind of getting my testimony in a song. That was a big deal for me to be able to do that.
And it's just those first 2 words. It grabs you instantly, coming clean.
Yeah.
We have all made mistakes, and we all have regrets, and we all have shame, and just, I don't know, that song just touches hearts probably like you have no idea. how much that song touches hearts. And that's a big song here at Joy
It
FM.
is.
Well, thank you guys for playing it. You know, it's funny because I feel like some of my best songs never went number one. Beauty of the Blood never went number one, and neither did Here He Comes. But to me, those songs, it really doesn't matter because of how they've stood, kind of like they've stood on their own. Like those are still the two that get the most requests. And you know, there's always the Shame on Me, the Religion Isn't Working. Those still get a ton of requests. But as far as just kind of those first two songs that kind of solidified me as a solo artist, you know, Here He Comes and Beauty of the Blood are those two songs that kind of stand on their own. And I'm really grateful, again, just to have a catalog of songs that I can pull from. And, you know, just grateful that God allows me to write them, you know, because one of the things when I sat down with my record company, I was like, I really want to write all of my material, and they were enough to say, okay, we'll let you, but you're gonna have to work for it. And I did. You know, I wrote tons and tons of songs until I got it right, and I still do it. Still work really hard and writing. I'm actually writing my next record right now, and so it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work. Because when you're home from the road, you just want to sit in your chair and watch football.
Yeah.
But you can't do that. You gotta stay after it and try to own your craft. And so, yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm so grateful for what I get to do.
I've always said songwriters, that's just an anointing that not everybody can write a song. Mm-mm. So that is definitely something that you have to be in tune with God to write a song, because that's how it's going to happen. Is He's going to give you those ideas. He's going to give you those words. And I am so in awe of songwriters.
Yeah.
I love artists. I love you. But the songwriters that come up with these songs, I just think that is just amazing. So thankful that you share that talent along with us, for sure. Do you still tell your testimony as you go from place to place?
I do, every night. You know, it doesn't matter how many times I've been there. You know, the reason I do it is because I just feel like it makes me instantly relatable. Because I don't think people can really relate with an artist based on what we have a very unique life, and so it's hard for them to relate with the guy that travels all the time and sings about Jesus, and you know. But when you tell them you're broken, man, I mean, they can relate with that. And so I told somebody, they said, when are you going to stop telling it? And I said, I guess when I get over it, you know, as far as to get over what Jesus has done for me, then I'll stop telling it. And I hope that's never the case, you know. And I don't go into the whole, I mean, it's not a long thing anymore. I used to take 10, 15, 20 minutes to tell it. Now it probably takes 5 minutes, you know. But I just want people to know these songs that I'm singing, like, they're real. Like, I've walked it, I've lived. And if God can heal me and redeem my story, He can do the same with you and your kids and your grandkids. He's just big enough to do that. So
that's awesome.
And with all the songs that you sing that are so completely awesome and wonderful, that story that you tell may be the most important thing you do in any concert.
Yeah.
I think so too. I really do. I don't know that I would have made it as a solo artist without what I went through. I think that is what, you know, I always thought God could build a career or a ministry, more importantly, on my voice or my songwriting. That's not what He did. He kind of took my brokenness and built it on that. And I think that's what He does. I think that's when He does His best work, is when we give Him the pieces of what's left and then kind of let Him do what He does, and that's heal and restore and redeem.
And I know that I've told you this before, but Candi and I, we're just proud of you.
Yeah.
You know, it's not easy to get up there and just tell that kind of stuff. You know, it's hard, and I know probably at the very beginning when you first told it, it was even harder, but I'm just really proud of you. I really am.
Well, that means a lot, really. I feel like we were talking before we got on the air. I feel like we've all kind of grown up together in the sense that when I first got in the industry, Candi was probably in her, I don't know, like
6,
maybe early 20s. Yeah, she was a baby.
Yeah.
Just like, I'm so proud of you guys and what you've built at Joy FM and the greatest station in our genre, and I'm so grateful for everything that you guys do and for playing my music, you know, because I know I tend to write things that are a little different than everybody else. I tend to say things that nobody else is saying, and for you guys to still play it, it's just always means a lot to me. And so thank you for that.
Well, it's our honor to do it. As long as you're giving us songs, we're going to be playing them.
Yeah. And Melanie and I are waiting for you to write one about us and what we mean to you in your life. So get on that.
Joy. I should call it the Joy Girls. Girls of Joy.
It is Valentine's week, and we have Joseph Habedank, as we said, on the line, and so we cannot let this go by without just asking you a few questions. So I would like to know, Candi would like to know, how you met your absolutely adorable wife, Lindsay. Where were you, and how did that whole thing take place?
All of a sudden, I feel like my seat is really hot. I'm in the hot seat all of a sudden.
You better remember is all I got to say.
Listen, I cannot forget. So this is kind of a funny story. I was singing with the Perrys at the time, and we were doing the Gray County Fairgrounds in Gray, Tennessee, and I didn't know Lindsay was coming. I knew she was. Her mom is a songwriter, so I knew her mom, knew of her mom. I'd actually grown up singing her mom's songs. There's a song that the Perrys ironically used to do called The Rock of Ages, which is Stone Rolled Away, the Rock of Ages walked out. Her mom wrote that. And so I grew up singing that song, so I knew the writer. And I'd heard about her daughter, and it's funny because Lauren Harris, the lead singer at the Perrys at the time, was kind of like, hey, you need to talk to Lindsay Bowman. And I was like, well, what about? And he was like, well, she's really pretty, she's a great singer, and I think you guys would hit it off. And so Adina, her mom, my mother-in-law, came that night, and Lindsay came with her, but Lindsay sat in the car and read a book during the concert.
Oh, Lord.
She was not interested in the concert. She wanted to read her book. So eventually she finished her book and came inside, which anybody who knows Lindsay knows that's such a Lindsay thing to do. Like, if she just doesn't want to go in somewhere, she's not going to go in.
That's
She's
funny.
not going to fake it. She is who she is. So she came in, and I don't remember who it was. It might have been Libby or Lauren wanted her to sing for me, and so her and her cousin sang together in a group called Third Generation, and so they started singing for me, and of course, amazing. They're incredible. We met that night. That was the first night we met. I always thought she was really beautiful, but her personality is very mysterious and kind of, backwards is not the word, and shy is not the word. It's just kind of this mysterious, quiet confidence thing. And so we didn't really, it was several years later until we started talking. And believe it or not, we started talking on Facebook, and we started texting, started talking on the phone, and then eventually I invited her to a concert in East Tennessee, and I asked her out on a date after the concert was over that night. And she said yes. And so it's funny, we went on our first date December 8th, 2008, and on December 9th, the next day, I was looking at wedding rings. That's a true story. The day after our first date.
Joseph!
Crazy.
Word?
When you know, you know.
That's
Wow.
right.
What did she know?
I don't know. I think she did. I don't know.
That's a two-way street.
Yeah.
It's funny because there's a road called Adelaide Road, and it's about a mile from our house, and we were on that road. It's a very windy road, very, very well-known road, and I looked over at her, and it was like God said, that's it, that's her. And I was like, what? So it was like, I knew, first day. And so here we are almost 13 years later. We've been together almost 15 years, and it's pretty incredible.
Who said I love you first?
Oh, yeah, it was me. Yeah, that was on a date. That was on a date in Knoxville, because I lived in Nashville. She lived in Kingsport, so often we would meet in the middle, which was kind of Knoxville-ish. It was kind of halfway. It was a little farther for me, but of course I didn't mind. So we went on I think I took her to like a nice steakhouse or something. Then we drove around, and I told her, and I think she said it back. Yeah.
I think she said it back. She must have, because you're married.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did. She did.
That's
no,
cute.
She did. Said it back.
What would you say that Lindsay thinks is your greatest trait?
Oh, man. The only thing I know, and Lindsay doesn't give compliments a lot. She's very, and I think part of it's because she knows that I get a lot of affirmation from people, on the road and fans and our friends. But one thing she said that always meant a lot to me is she said, I've never met anybody who's constantly trying to get better at everything in their life. And I think it's maybe the drive that I have. That, I've got a long way to go. I think she would tell you that. I would tell you that. I'm still a work in progress as far as I'm far from perfect, but I'm constantly trying to work to be better in every aspect of my life. I do constantly want to be the best I can be at everything that I do, whether it being a husband or friend or being a better singer or a better songwriter, a better artist, like all of that. I just want to grow, be the best I can be.
Who's the funniest?
Probably her. Yeah, she's hilarious. And she's very, very goofy, but also very quirky. And yeah, she's really funny. She's really funny, and she's very hard to get to. I shouldn't say hard to get to know, but she's more guarded than most people. Like, she doesn't do social media, and she doesn't have she doesn't go on girl trips and stuff like that. She's very close to me, close to family, and that's just who she is. And so, but she's hilarious. She's really funny.
Do you guys ever argue, ever fight?
If he says no, he's lying.
Yes, I mean, yeah. It's funny because we're both very pro therapy, so we actually have we had a really hard time, and still do some days, of working together, because that's hard. I mean, being married is one thing, but working together, it's like you're putting on a different hat. I remember the other night I was on the front row texting her while something was going on stage. She was back at the sound. For people that don't know, she's a front of house engineer. And so I was texting her something about sound, and I was being very direct. And eventually I said, probably need to start being more like your husband and not like your boss right now. And she was like, thanks. Because, you just put on this coworker hat, and you kind of stop being husband and wife for these several hours of a day, and it's just an odd thing. It's odd to go back and forth between husband and coworker, and it's just, that can be very difficult. But I do think we found a really good balance, and I'm a work in progress, so I'm very perfectionist driven. So is she. I think the bad thing about being a perfectionist is that you're always going to be let down, because nothing's perfect. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Billy Graham's wife, Ruth, once said this. The secret, she was asked, what is the secret of your marriage? She was married for a long time to Billy Graham, and she said, the secret to a good marriage is you have two good forgivers.
Yeah.
So are y'all good at letting things go easily? We just getting down into the nitty gritty. Sorry about that. If I'm getting too personal, just tell me to shut up.
I think she's had to forgive a lot more because of my addiction and my recovery, and so she's, at the beginning of our marriage, I think we both had a hard time moving on right away, but I think we've both grown a lot in that aspect of just kind of getting mad and then getting over it. And I think the Graham quote is so good. It's something else I heard, it was so good, is find out what pushes their buttons and don't push them.
Oh,
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Like, what's going to set them off. Just don't do it. Don't say it. Don't go there. That for me is something I'm still learning. Because I know what's going to make her mad, and she knows what's going to make me mad, and it's just not doing those things. You know what I mean?
That's great.
That's about the best marriage advice you could give, I think. that is, because that right
really
there, that probably causes more problems and issues than anything, is that you just want to kind of...
Yeah, because hurt people.
Yeah, and a lot of times I think anger that we feel comes from the hurt.
It does.
I think anger...
absolutely.
Yeah. So, you've been married how long?
We celebrate 13 years in June, and it's funny because we keep thinking it's 10 years because I've been sober 10 years this year. And so it feels like we've only been married 10 years because that's when I got clean, but it is 13 years this year. We've been together for 2008, so 15 years.
Wow. Yeah. We're looking forward to, seeing her at the concert. And I'm pretty sure that, I don't know what I saw it on, but I think I saw her sing on a YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
And she is fabulous.
Yeah,
I just can't believe she don't want to be up there with you more, because she's really good.
Yeah.
Well, she really is. She's amazing. I don't know if you guys know this, but we actually released an album together called Together back at Quartet Convention, and it's in September, and it's out now. And so we're not quite to the point. The songs that we recorded they're the ones that kind of helped us get through my addiction and recovery, and so they're a little raw and real for us to do live. That's one of the reasons we haven't done them yet. But she's an amazing singer, and I'm just really proud of her and kind of the growth that she's made as a singer and artist. She stopped singing for a long time, and that's kind of her story to tell and why that happened. But I'm just really honored and just grateful that she was willing to do this album. We recorded it during the shutdown in 2020, and it took us 2 years to get it out because she just wasn't ready, and I had to let it kind of happen. It wasn't even me. It was Russ Taff actually sat her down and was like, "You are not right for not releasing that album." He said, "You are basically your God instilled a gift in you, and you're not using it, and you're wrong." And he was very kind about it, very sweet. Russ is such a vital part of my recovery, and so he can be very candid with us. And it hit a chord with her, and she was like, you know what, I gotta release it, and she did.
Wow.
And so really grateful that she did that. So now the next step is deciding is, are we gonna sing it live, or are we just not gonna do it live? And that's kind of up to her and the Lord. And so that's her journey, and I'm just here to hopefully support and try to just kind of let her figure out what that journey looks like. But in the meantime, the album together that we did together is very, very dear to us and very important, I think. So
well, I don't know if she can hear us or not, but girl, you need to be singing.
For real?
Yes, that's too good to not hear.
She does need to be singing. I agree.
And she's got such a story to share herself, from her side. Candi and I didn't want to be on the radio either, but God made us.
Look at us now.
And look at us now.
You guys are killing it. I'm glad you said yes.
Yeah, you are sweet. Well, you don't ever hear us. You're asleep.
Yeah, but I can just imagine how good it is.
That's funny.
I can just imagine how amazing it is.
Well, Joseph, thank you for taking time out and hanging out with us.
Oh, it's my honor. Thank you guys for having me. I love you guys. I can't wait for a concert. I think it's going to be great, and I'm just really excited. You guys are the best. I love you.
So much fun talking with Joseph Habedank on Quirks, Bumps, and Bruises.
Thanks for listening to the Quirks, Bumps, and Bruises podcast with Candi and Melody. If you enjoyed the show, please take a moment to subscribe, rate, and share the podcast. You can learn more at joyfm.org.
Try Peas and Carrots podcast for more encouragement. Brian and Kayla share life from their piece of the vegetable patch. Expect a laugh, find common ground, and hear stories you can't wait to share. It's a podcast about doing life together, growing in Christ together, and learning to laugh no matter what comes your way. Search Peas and Carrots podcast wherever you listen to podcasts today. Get quick encouragement on the go with your encouraging 5-minute podcast. It's a weekly dose of encouragement to start your week off right. Search your encouraging 5-minute podcast today.